Well, we officially have the next project in line for my truck. Because my girlfriend's truck was down for so long, she was having to use my truck as a means of transportation. And in doing so, she had to use mine more than what I wanted. I knew that my truck was going to need work, but luckily, since I drive my truck once or twice a month right now, because my job doesn't really need me to be driving much, it gets parked. So I figured I had time to fix my truck, but I didn't because she was driving it. So it's gonna sound weird, but it developed death wobble, essentially. It started around at 80 kilometers an hour. You'd hit a small bump, the steering wheel would shake a little bit. So I knew something was gonna have to get fixed sooner than later. But then it got to a point where you couldn't even go 50 down the road without it basically shaking so bad that you had to stop and then continue on. So at that point, I basically parked the truck and started ordering parts. And the parts is quite a few of them, nothing extravagant, but basically what I ordered was new pitman arm, inner and outer tie rods, Mevotech TTX. Apparently they're a little bit more beefy and a little bit more stronger and heavy duty than the majority of your standard stuff, so I'm going to try those. Picked up an idler and the arm. I also picked up tie rod sleeves from Kryptonite. And the other thing that I picked up, which is right there, is the Kryptonite idler arm bracket, whatever you want to call that thing. Basically it ties the idler, I call it the idler arm, they call it the idler bracket. It's just the idler system. It basically ties the factory bracket to the frame. You can bolt it in. I've seen people do that, but the general recommendation is to weld it. So I will be welding it. No, you will not see me welding it. I know how to stick two types of metal together and make it work and make it strong, but my welds are not anything of any good caliber. So I got my air compressors fired up and it's all ready to go. So I got the power tools out because I don't want to be fighting with a lot of these nuts and bolts. I want this to go quick and fast to even expedite the job if necessary, because these are all friction fit. I picked up this guy. No, it's not the big nasty. It's its baby brother. It's the 401. So we're gonna try that. Seems to get lots of good reviews. So if I gotta punch anything through the frame or, take any of the pitman arm or anything like that apart, I'll have it. So I've got most of the stuff set up. So at this point, it's going to be getting all the old crap out. It's not too bad. The pitman arm is more of the challenging side. Idler arm isn't too bad. The idler arm is right here. And so it's just 2 bolts and then the part back there. So you take the nut off the bottom and then the arm comes off. But easiest way to do it is take the nut off, get it freed, take these off, and this whole piece just comes out as one. And then you put it back in as one piece as well, so that it just makes it easier, because you can see there's not a lot of room to get that arm off in here. And then this bracket basically goes like this. So you just tie this all together, sits up in there like that, weld it in. These 2 bolts will hold it up, and then you got 4 holes there that you can rosette weld and then perimeter weld if you want. So I'm going to do that as well. I'm going to mark it. I got a sander. I want to clean this all up before I weld it, prime it, and get it ready for paint. So we're going to work on this and get this out and get the tools fired up. And I don't know how much I'm going to show. It's a pretty tight spot to be showing anything. So I'll do my best to show, but we'll see. So I'm gonna get the music on, and I want to get this junk out of here. So I'm going to show you now why an air hammer comes in handy. So you can see we got the 2 bolts out. So that's what it's like loose in there to somewhat moves around. And over here is the stud. Under here is the stud, right at the end of my finger. It's a little dark under here. I don't have my flashlight with me, but basically right here, right at the tip of my finger is where the stud is. And now you have this much room in here, which isn't a lot to swing a hammer. You have all that crap up there, which good luck getting a hammer in there. You might be able to sneak a pickle fork or pry bar or something under here. So instead, what you can do is get yourself an air hammer, and then you can either get a pointy bit, you can get a blunt, or just a one like that or like that. I'm going to use either the pointy or this flat tip, just so that I got a little bit more reach in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this guy on the end of that threaded part, and then I'm just going to punch it out. I don't know if I'll be able to get you guys in there, but let's see if I can. And I'm going to apologize for the noise. So I'll stick you up here. I think you guys can see what's going on there. Just verify. Studs right there. Yep, you can see. So putting the hearing on, right back. I've got to put my fittings on this thing. All right, tool is fittinged up. Now we go underneath, find the stud, and whack it. Done. And just like that, everything is free. So now I gotta figure out how to fight all of this out. And then once I've got it out, and I'll show you what it looks like out of the truck and how bad and greasy it looks. Well, a little finagling and waggling, and it actually came out pretty easy. It wasn't too difficult. But here is the new one, just kind of sitting here right now. And there's the old one. You can see just how dirty this one is. I don't really know how to tell if it's like good or bad. This knuckle doesn't seem to move, so I think it's mostly in this part here, but again, I'm not sure. At first glance, they don't look very different, especially in the arm. The arms look pretty much identical, so I don't know, maybe it's the insides that are a little bit different, but to me, the arm itself is pretty close. I mean, maybe it's a little bit thicker there on the stud, so I'd have to get some mics out to see, but it looks like the stud is a little bit thicker there, so maybe that's where it's a little bit stronger. At first glance, it doesn't really look like these are too much different, but you can definitely tell the body on the Mevo is definitely thicker and bulkier. And if we look at the back side, you can see it's got this piece here. Looks like it's like a little casting in there to help strengthen it. I'm not sure what that part is exactly for, but that's got one there, but it doesn't have one on that one. So there is some differences there. Will those differences validate spending the money that I did on these? I guess time will tell, so that I don't maybe perhaps have to spend money on these after a very long period of time and stuff like that. But I mean, when I got this truck, it was running 2-inch wheel spacers off the sides with 12.5-inch tires. So it was a lot of extra weight hanging off the side of this thing. So, you know, that never helps with these types of parts either. So now that we have everything out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the original bolts and I'm going to put this up in there, and I'm going to cinch it down, line up the holes, cinch it down, and then I've got some pliers, and then I'm going to take it and I'm going to clamp it to the frame here, and then I'm going to mark the outside, and then wherever the outside line is, I'm going to get my sander and I'm going to sand to the outside of it, and then prime the back of this, maybe prime the frame, then rebolt it, clamp it, weld it, and then reinstall. So I'm not going to show all of that because that's just going to be a lot of noise, a lot of dust, and so I will just show you once I get it ready to be welded what that all looks like, and then once it's done being welded, I'll show you again, and then once the new parts are installed, that'll be the last show and tell, and at that point it should be good and installed and be done. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. Clamped, bolted. I got a black mark written around the outside of this now, so I know where it's going to go. I've picked up this guy. It's this Wen finger sander. I only paid like $70 Canadian for it. It seems like it's going to work and do what I need, but let me tell you, the smell that's coming off this thing on its first start, holy moly. You can tell that it is not made in Canada. So basically now I'm going to take that guy and clean up the frame, and then clean up the back side of this, and then it'll be nice and ready, and then I'll have to use some degreaser or acetone or whatever, clean this all up, weld it in, and then get the new idler stuff installed. So I did this just to make sure that this was tight to the frame and it wasn't going to go nowhere. I don't know if I'm going to be able to weld up in this corner. It's pretty tight, so it'll probably just be this edge, some of this edge, some of this top edge, and then the 4 rosettes. So we'll see how it works out, and then you'll see how it works out once I'm done. So there you go. That's that step, and now the next step will happen. Well, I think I forgot to show you guys what it was going to look like before I did all the work. So now I'm going to show you what it looks like after I did most of the work. So there's the bracket. Like I said, my welds aren't great, but they hold. I put all the rosette welds in all there. They could have been a little bit better, but whatever, it's in. So that bracket is now in. So now I'm getting ready to put the idler components in. So for that, we have over here on the table. So this is it here. So this is all put together. So we're just gonna have to get everything ready. I put the arm on. This I torqued down to 46. On the bottom here, they put a hex slot in there for an 8mm socket or wrench or whatever you got for that. A lot of these new kits come with a grease hose. This is a pretty common spot that people don't grease because of how difficult it is to get at. So they now give you this hose, which is your standard grease fitting on the end, a little clamp here that you can bolt it or zip tie it out of the way. There's another one that's going to go in up on here. Just haven't put that one in yet. So I'm going to get that one installed, and then I'm going to get this all back into the truck, get it all greased up, and this side will be done. And just like that, she's all done. Got the new components in. I don't have anything greased yet because I gotta do the pitman arm. And once I have the pitman arm in, then I'll just grease everything. Hose kind of does a little weird whoop-dee. Let's see if I can find my light here. Sorry, I thought I had it. I could have sworn I had it. I had it. Oh. It's under the truck. Found it. It doesn't go down the front. It comes out right here. So it's under here. So I'll probably just, I don't know, zip tie it, or because the brake line comes out right here. So I can probably just zip tie it off to the brake line. And then whenever I want to grease it, I just cut it, grease it, and zip tie it back. So that is the idle arm stuff done. Then next is going to be idle arm, pitman arm, and tie rods. Tie rods you want to watch for. Got a trick up my sleeve for that one. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.